No black cats, just straight facts.
Triple P certified.
Listen, we can talk about odds all day. It doesn't matter what the odds are. It matters what's gonna happen.
Okay. Ready to start the show. Boys, welcome to the Perk Play Pursuit, everybody. It is the eve of UFC 314. We're a day late, but not a dollar short. We're coming at you with some very hot picks. Full card, main card, prelims, top to bottom, UFC 314. Brief little UFC Vegas, Josh Emmett versus
Lerone
Murphy.
Lerone Murphy. So forgettable of a fight. I can't even remember who fought. But the whole card, very forgettable. So we'll do a brief touch on that. But then, we'll get right into UFC 314, main card and prelims, full predictions, full breakdown. A card I've had marked on the calendar for a very long time. A card where I don't want to guarantee winnings. I'm not going to guarantee winnings, but I'm going to tell you this. It's my time. I know. It seems crazy, but I actually just found out it's my time. You see, I'm an Aquarius, and the Blood Moon and Polaris and the constellation Orion's Belt, as well as the Big and Little Dipper, are all perfectly aligned for a big weekend from me personally. Alex can't claim the same thing, even though his birthday is coming up, even though it's pretty much his birthday weekend, depending on how you want to look at it. It might be his weekend if he listens to his older brother, but it's definitely mine. Dan,
I broke even 2 weekends in a row. That means I'm about to pop big time.
Yeah, I hear you. I hope so. I hope we all have a very prosperous weekend. Palm Sunday. We're all Passover, I believe, maybe even too. But lots of religious holidays this time of year. So you want to do your occult rituals. You want to tap into all the mana that's out there available in the air. You want to make sure that you're, I famously sacrificed the tail of a newt on a rock. Won a lot of money that weekend. I famously did a blood ritual to see the demise of both Kevin Holland and Stephen Wonderboy Thompson in the same night. The stuff works. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. But with that being said, we want to break down UFC 314. But first, how was your guys' weekend? What did you do to watch the fights? Did you watch them? I personally was traveling, so caught a few of them in the car, listening to them while driving, and then I got home just in time for the main card. So I only really missed what I heard was a very sleepy, boring affair. Valentin versus Torres Finney. So that's pretty much the only fight I missed. Oh, and I purposely missed Diana Belbita versus the girl she fought. I purposely missed that. I just literally was like, I'd rather listen to a podcast in the car than listen to this fucking fight. So I just turned it off. And I knew in my head, I'm like, all right, I have this whole fight, and then I have the Torres Finney fight. I'll check back in a little bit to listen to that one. But by the time I got home, I never ended up switching back, so I missed that one. But other than that, I watched them all, and I have some good takes. But I'd love to hear about your guys' weekend.
Well, you got it all mixed up. The Gianni Barbosa, Diana Belbita was one of the most exciting fights of the whole night. Barbosa just went in there, just swarmed her, did what a fighter is supposed to do and actually fight and land some punches and get a submission in the first round. I had the under 2.5, which was nice. You totally messed up because the Finney fight, even though that guy looks like a little mini Bob Sapp, I think he threw, and this is an actual statistic, I think he threw 8 punches and landed 4. Old school UFC, all wrestling. Terrible.
Dan,
boring.
I don't know if you tuned in last week, but I called both of those fights exactly how they went. I said Barbosa's going to get a sub. Torres Finney is going to have a very, very boring fight and win a decision. And both of those exactos, as well as the Lerone Murphy by decision exactos. So I'm pretty hot in terms of picks. I didn't necessarily do the best. I didn't do the worst. I think I went 7 for 12 on the night, 3 being exact picks, and one of those in the main event of the evening. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket surgeon to say Leroy Murphy's going to have a boring decision and Torres Finney's going to have a boring decision, but it is what it is.
I thought Finney might get the KO via ground and pound, but didn't even sniff it. So that's bad on me. But again, as I said, I was able to shift some numbers around and get myself to break even. So I'm all good on that front. Nothing really to speak upon as far as the viewing experience, just your typical on the couch viewpoint. But yeah, I'm excited for the actual big pay-per-view card coming up this weekend. I think we got some good spots to take advantage of as well.
Yeah, for me, Reese McKee, an underdog I called and was pretty confident he was going to win. Alex talked me into him by submission. Didn't know he was going to come out with those hands and get a TKO in the first round. I think other than that, I mean, I called Pat Sabatini as well. So of the three underdogs that won, you're talking about Sabatini, you're talking about Reese McKee, and you're talking about kind of slightly Telly to Allen Carr. I called two of those three, and where I was kind of wrong big was Cornelius Ramius, but I thought he looked really good in spots there. My thing was he kept going for submission and sacrificing position, right? So it was almost like the South Korean fighter Chang Ho Lee was baiting him by kind of like doing kind of like an Islam Makhachev thing where it's like you'll see some of the really high level guys do this where they feel the grappling out and they kind of sandbag a little bit where they'll like let a guy kind of go for what he thinks he wants and outsmart them by anticipating that's the door they've left open, that's where he's going to come through, and then they counter beautifully. So that, I mean, to me, to be honest, that's like when I'm doing jiu-jitsu, that's like a lot of jiu-jitsu is kind of like if you're going against another high level guy, then the only way you can really
Another high level guy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying if you're going against a guy who's there as high level as you or close to it, you're gonna both, you know, all the techniques, right? You know, there was a wrestling coach that coached wrestling for a college for University of Maryland, but he also was the coach at Marcelo Garcia Academy for a little while. He was only a blue belt, but he would do some wrestling coaching. And this guy, he did say one good thing while I was there. He said, in wrestling, you have 5 layers of defense. You have your head, layer 1, your hands, layer 2, your forearms, layer 3, your hips are level 4, and your legs are level 5. I said, but then there's a 6th area. He goes, trickery. And when everything else, when you know all of the, he grabs here, I grab here. When you know all of that, you're perfectly kind of countering with your opponent. The only way to really get an edge on somebody who's as skilled as you is trickery, right? I mean, that's everything in the sport. It really all comes down to trickery. Who's the trickier guy? Who's the more cerebral guy? All things equal. So yeah, that was my biggest, I would say that's my biggest wrong pick, but I liked how Rami was fought, to be honest. You know, I can't help him for losing a.
I forgot you were even talking about that fight.
Luis Garul was really my biggest disappointment. Like going out there, getting knocked out by Ode Osborne. Shameful. You know, I kind of thought Garul was more of like a scary guy. Like the way I saw the fight playing out was like, he's going to just come straight up forward like he's fucking John Silva, like laughing at everything, just a mean guy. Like, and he's just going to pound him. And then I remembered, I was like, or when I was watching the fight, I was like, this is not the guy I thought he was. So nah, kind of like Daniel Rodriguez, right? Like you think Daniel Rodriguez is going to kind of make up for his lack of skill with just like perseverance and not give a fuckness. You know what I mean? But he doesn't do that. You know, he doesn't just, he kind of just like loses, he gets outclassed, you know, in fights that it's like, you should be the more hardened guy. You should be more willing to just take 2 to give 1. Like Mike Perry, you know what I mean? Mike Perry would be the best example, I think, of what I'm talking about.
Not
where,
enough
like,
doggedness.
But that's something that really only lasts a certain amount of time. You know what I mean? Like you take enough punishment, it's impossible to still have that kind of style, you know? So yeah, other than that, no real complaints. I thought Pat Sabatini fought brilliantly. I applaud him for just his stick-to-itiveness, his ability to. Honestly, I thought Brito's grappling was better than that. He made a guy who I kind of overestimated in the grappling department look like an absolute amateur. I mean, Brito had nothing for him. He could it was like going against a white belt. You know what I mean? He was never going to get him off, which I thought was crazy. Like I would think Brito's athletic enough, springy enough to get up, but
would love to see Sabatini versus Bryce Mitchell. Ooh, make that happen.
Mr. Wipeout, I don't know who you are talking about because a lot of my things exploded with Garul. I had Garul by knockout. So
I think he's talking about me being the only one who's not in the red, and that is mainly because I'm retired, and this number is not going to move for the foreseeable future unless my beautiful blessed mother blesses me with a DraftKings gift card this weekend. That's the only way I'm back in the game, ladies and gents. Other than that, I'm out. The apps are off my phone. I can't do it. I simply can't do it right now.
Big time Nepo baby getting that DK gift card.
Oh yeah.
How about this? I do want to touch on one thing, which is
Does mom do that for you often? Does mom do that for you often?
No.
Well, wait, it is your birthday though coming up, I guess.
Yes. I was saying, like, if she does get me a DraftKings gift card for my birthday, my hands are tied. Do I know if that's going to happen? No, I do not. That's the only way I get myself back in the game.
Hopefully she watches this episode and gets a little,
She used to watch. I think somewhere along the lines we lost her.
We need her to comment.
You know why we lost her? You know why we lost her? She begged and pleaded with us for years. Stop breaking down women's fights. And we didn't listen. We did not listen.
Yeah, she's so like she can't even believe her ears when I tell her when I have a parlay and I say a girl's name, she's like, Haley sounds like a woman's name. Like, yeah, but and she's like, you don't bet on women fights, Luke. I'm like, I know. She's like, come on, we know this. We know this. We know this of all things. And she's right. So first up, we got Nora Cornell versus Haley Cowan. I mean, this is a lady fight I think you can bet on. I think
I do too. I do too.
I think the odds are generous. I think anything south of -200 is generous on Cornell. I think I heard that Haley Cowan, the reason she has been inactive is because of severe medical issues that occur every time she cuts weight. So I'm kind of almost pegging this fight to not occur, to not happen at all, really. But it'll be Nora Cornell for me. I've heard bad things about what's kept Haley Cowan from the octagon, and she missed weight in her last fight, 137.5 against Jamie Lynn Horth, a fight that she lost, and then 2 back-to-back canceled bouts. Really, Aline Perez, Tamiris Vidal were her 2 scheduled fights before Horth. Both got canceled, and then Tamiris Vidal and Zara Farim were the 2 after that. So she has a sandwiching of just cancellations. And honestly, I think this fight was this fight was scheduled for May 10th, got canceled, and they moved it closer. How's that going to help anybody, right? I'm looking at this. It says bout rescheduled. No reason given. But, I mean, why was it rescheduled? Why was it moved up closer? How's that going to help a girl who has trouble making weight when now she has a month less of time than she thought she did whenever the fight was rebooked to make the weight? I predict Haley Cowan does not show up for this fight. And if she does, I predict she loses. Ravioli, give me the cornioli.
Oh, man, that was great. I'm going with Cornell too. Like Luke said, I think this is a favorite you can bet on, especially given the circumstances. She's beating up on Jocelyn Edwards, Melissa, at that time, Melissa Dixon. And she also had a very, very close fight with Jacqueline Cavalcante. I thought she won that one. I think highly of this Cornell. I'll take this Cornell.
And, one thing I've always said since the very 6th episode of the show, you don't bet on the girls with the dyed hair in their Tapology picture. They're focused on all the wrong things. They're focused on,
and that's just the tip of the spear.
But I said that actually about Jillian Robertson. At the time I was correct, but I've since been kind of proven wrong because she's gone on quite the run since her losing streak when we first started the show. But yeah, I mean, it's Haley Cowan, she doesn't need to be here. When you don't need to be here, you find the exit. You find the exit door. So she needs to
go
find God.
I think with a lot of these lady fights, you need to find the symbolism that speaks to you, the parable of the newt in Luke's case. To me, I was talking to the boys before the show. I'm off to a Caribbean island that was at one point in time a French territory. So I'm taking that symbolism and I'm going to go with Cornoli, because if I don't win money this weekend, I won't even be able to afford this trip. I might just be stuck on this island. So give me the Cornoli and let's win some money, and hopefully I can return back to the States. Good as gold.
I'm 1 for 5 trusting the signs, sadly. So
you're not reading the right signs then.
I hope to fucking God I'm not reading the right signs.
Otherwise,
or the 4 signs that you thought were signs that were proven to be not.
Specifically, I think one of the signs. Let me think.
Like some dead goat on your doorstep or something. Like, that's a sign.
No.
Gene Silva's coming after him in his dreams, giving him wrong signs, telling him
legions of demons.
Yeah, we'll get to that later. But no. You know what?
I mean, if you can't remember them, they're not very symbolic. They're not very signal worthy.
Yeah, no. I was making a joke, but I didn't. But I do feel like, sometimes, like, my point was that you never track the times that the signs didn't work out.
Yeah.
And for me, it's not so much signs as it is ritualistic sacrifice, large celebrations, and karmic balance, right? So Kevin Holland cost me a great deal of money when he quit on his stool. Then I go to a wedding and participate in the wedding, literally the ceremony, the ritual of the wedding. I'm a groomsman, so I'm up there. I'm doing this kind of sacrifice, or this kind of like, my friend is making the sacrifice and I'm there to co-sign it. And then, like, we all return after that is done. And what happens but 2 men who've wronged me, Kevin Holland, who quit on his stool to lose me money against Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Kevin Holland quits on his stool to win me money in a parlay I had, with the final leg of that parlay after Roman Dolideze beating Kevin Holland was Stephen Wonderboy Thompson to lose by knockout to Joaquin Buckley. So in one night after doing this ritual, I approach with expectation of victory because I've kind of like cleansed myself karmically. And exactly what went wrong: Kevin Holland quitting on his stool to lose me money against fighting Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, who lost me money when he didn't show up to get his ass beat by Michelle Pereira, and who was like a -115 favorite. I would have put $2,000 on Michelle Pereira to beat Wonderboy that night. Michelle Pereira misses weight. Wonderboy cowards out like a yellow belly coward from South Carolina. And all of a sudden, I find myself making $3,600 on Kevin Holland and Wonderboy Thompson meeting their justifiable demise, their karmic blood in, blood out type cleansing that benefited me. So that's what I work off of. That's what I operate off of. And the biggest nights in my career were in situations like tonight, situations like Saturday night, which is, let's think, Dricus du Plessis knocking out Robert Whittaker. Who called that? Me. Who bet on it? Me. What night did that occur on? Your wedding night. Okay.
Yep.
Number 2, Ilya Topuria knocking out Max Holloway. Ilya Topuria knocking out Alexander Volkanovski. Robert Whittaker getting his jaw shattered by Khamzat Chimaev. All of these things have a common theme to them, which is you kill the darlings. If they are a fighter where everybody is like hoping that they win so badly, and you have a newcomer, Alex Moreno versus Cowboy Cerrone. Alex Moreno beat the piss out of Cowboy Cerrone, and he was an underdog during that fight because Cowboy Cerrone was the fan favorite, the popular guy. Right now, this weekend, we have Robert Whittaker versus DDP again. We have a very similar situation, and we're going to get to see I'm going to get to paint a masterpiece this weekend. I'm going to have the opportunity. I'm going to take the brush. I'm going to paint a masterpiece. So that's that.
Tresean Gore versus Marco Tulio. Dan, take us away for this one.
I think I'm going to go with Trulio here. Not really in love with Tresean Gore, although I do think he's improving. I think cardio is getting better. So he's been, had some power in his hands. But I think that there is something still somewhat lacking. I don't think the volume is completely there. I think Marco is going to be striking at range, which I don't think Tresean is going to be too comfy with. He needs to be more, fighting in a phone booth, as they say. And I don't think Marco is going to allow that to happen in this style of fight. So, this is a very chalky matchup. I think he's minus 355 last I checked. I think it's justified. It's not a parlay pillar because, again, Tresean Gore, he's even got some submissions up his sleeve. So he's a powerful dude. Not one of these guys that I like betting against in this circumstance where I think he's going to lose. But again, he could pull a rabbit out of the hat with said power and submission skills. But the pick is going to be Marco. Not crazy about it. There's a lot better lines on this card.
Dan, the only thing that Tresean Gore is lacking is space in between his two eyes. And I am going with Tresean Gore. You say Trulio's going to fight at distance. He's got a shorter reach. Good luck, pal. Tresean Gore has been much improved every fight we've seen him in, and I think that this is going to be his masterpiece.
A couple of times, Alex has delivered absolute great lines, and on my end at least, it broke up right as he was saying it. I hope it didn't. One time it froze Alex, but I saw Dan go, "Huh?" And I was like, I guess it's just for me because Dan clearly hears him. But I'm hoping to God everybody heard what Alex just said. The only thing Tresean Gore is lacking is space between his two eyes. That is absolutely the man looks like a flounder. Okay, but that being said, Dan said he's got a couple of submissions up his sleeve. He's got back-to-back guillotine chokes against one of them being a literal Brazilian. I mean, he standing guillotined Antonio Tricoli. Tricoli might be the biggest disappointment next to the guy who lost to fucking Anthony Smith. I mean, who's the guy who lost to Anthony Smith? Vitor
virtually identical, the two of them.
I thought that it was that guy for a second. But basically, it's like you get these Brazilian fighters every once in a while who just in a fight where you're like, thank God, cleanup crew. You got a relatively unknown Brazilian with a pretty spotless record. He's coming in. He's gonna fucking kill this guy. Vitor Petrino versus Anthony Smith, And then they just fucking blow it. And you're like, and they all have the same kind of look on their face. And they all kind of, are willing to hug their opponent in the end. And it's like, that ain't it. You know what I mean? If you're from Brazil and you lose in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu to an American, now it's American Jiu-Jitsu. It's not Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu anymore. We've now made it better. That's what that'll be like an American. Hey, Michael Chandler, an All-American Division I wrestler, gets absolutely ragdolled by Charles Oliveira, gets absolutely smoked in one area specifically, the wrestling of the fight. He gets taken down 5 fucking times. And never gets up. So I have to take that. That's American wrestling absolutely failing against a guy who's never put on a pair of wrestling boots in his life, never competed at a collegiate level, never competed at a high school level, okay? That takes a lot away from the sport I did, wrestling, and I have to accept that. Michael Chandler was a bad representation. He fucked it up. It's you know what, Michael Chandler? You might be an All-American, but Charles DuBronx, he's an All-Brazilian. He fucked you up in wrestling. Bad. That is, it can't happen. That can't happen ever again. I will not accept that. You know what I mean? one of these Dagestanis gets you down, whatever. But I don't even really want to see that. I need Bo Nickel to beat Khamzat Chimaev. You know what I mean? I need...
Or else.
If Bo Nickel gets taken down by Khamzat Chimaev, I mean, where you put that as like the ultimate shame for American wrestling. The ultimate shame. That would be the ultimate shame. And guess what? I think Khamzat's a lot slicker on the feet. I think Khamzat in an MMA setting, can put Bo in an awkward position and get him down. Because guess what? Khamzat's got a better first round in him, and he's got better striking. And those two things can put Bo's feet in a position where he can get taken down. And I will literally find wrestling paraphernalia around my home, take it out to the fucking dumpster and throw it away.
Well, Luke, I got great news for you because you're going to get a showcase in wrestling. Aaron Pico is scheduled to fight Movsar Evelev.
I love that. And you know what? When Aaron Pico ragdolls Movsar Evelev and takes him down like a dog on meat, I'll be able to be proud for a second. But until then, I got to worry about Paddy the Baddy taking Michael Chandler down. I got to worry about that now. You know?
Michael Chandler's going to get headlocked by Paddy the Baddy. Even worse. The lowest level wrestling move ever. He's going to get suckered into a fucking clinch and get headlocked, tossed onto his back, feet to back, pinned. Not only taken down, but pinned.
Yeah. I mean,
all right.
Anyway,
we got to get to Sumaderji.
I'm going with Marco Tullio, but here's why. I'm going with Marco Tullio, but I just said if what I said is going to happen happens, you can't call me on that because I told you. I said, hey, look, Marco Tullio, I thought the same way about the guy from Cameroon who just came in and after the knockout wizard from Africa came in and I was like, well, we're going to see the same story play out. That didn't happen. So at all. So I'm going to just buck the trend and hope that there's a regression towards Brazil improving in the sense that some of these guys, I don't know what's happening. It's like the NIL, but at least the NIL, you get a bunch of guys in fucking March Madness. You know what I mean? Like they do their job, but I feel like gone are the days, I think, of the Alex Pereira coming out of the jungle, like in the tire shop, like I need to win this. And you're getting these Brazilians who are getting smoke and steam blowing up their asses, and they're just happy to be here. You know what I mean? So we got to put our hard hat on, get our lunchbox, and go out there and get a fucking win against Tresean Gore here. Because if Tresean Gore can beat Brazil, shit, that's like the Eagles putting in their second string against the Chiefs. You know what I mean? Tresean Gore is fifth string as far as what America has to offer. And if Tullio gets guillotined by him, I wouldn't let him back in Brazil. I wouldn't let him back. You got to be able to beat an American guy who's 5-2. You're 13-1. You're from Brazil. You're from You're from Charles Oliveira's camp, Chuto Box Diego Lima. Okay, then we better fucking see that.
But is he Fogo de Chao Brazilian or Rio de Janeiro Brazilian? That's the real question.
No. Rio de Janeiro, come on. That's like Times Square. We're talking.
Times Square is dangerous.
Gotta watch out for Spider-Man. All right. Alex will be the only one on Tresean Gore.
Sumaderji versus Mitch Raposo. Luke, what do you think about this one?
You know, Mitch Raposo, he's capable of winning this fight.
Hold on. Didn't he, the only reason he got that split decision against Andre Lima, am I crazy or is it because Andre Lima poked him in the eye 6 times and kicked him in the balls 3? And that was right after Andre Lima got bit. So everybody was like, oh, we just praised this guy for getting bit and winning a fight for getting bit. And then he's just the dirtiest fighter ever as well. Who's to say he didn't bite himself in there?
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I'm going Mitch Raposo here. The Tibetan Eagle, you know, if he fights this fight, how Chang Ho Lee fought against Cornelius Ramius, then he can win. But if Mitch Raposo fights like Cornelius Ramos did against Shang Li, he can lose. So I'm hoping that Mitch Raposo can forget everything Tyson Chartier has ever told him and fight smart, keep his hands up, be tactical. Jocko Willink, I'm being tactical. You got to be tactical, Mr. Raposo. So I need a little bit of George St. Pierre, Jocko Willink. I need a little bit of that mentality out of Mitch Raposo. Be tactical, be smart, lull this guy to sleep, and capitalize on big moments each round. You'll win a decision. I think a decision is easy for Mitch Raposo to win here. He needs to win a decision here. Mitch Raposo by decision.
I couldn't agree more. Great wrestler Mitch Raposo is. I agree. The New England Cartel is a bunch of dummies. Luke, don't really like any of their fight styles. Don't really have any faith in them. But Mitch Raposo is pretty well-rounded. Sumiderji has only beaten 3 UFC fighters, none of which are on the roster anymore. And he got armbarred by Louis Smolka. He went into, I think the reason he's the Tibetan Eagle is because he went to train with the Dagestanis to learn wrestling and still is just having struggles on the ground with every one of his opponents. Going to go with Mitch Raposo on this one.
No, definitely not. The Tibetan Eagle is going to take this thing. One of my favorite fighters in the flyweight division. He is long. He's a southpaw. He's tricky. He throws straight shots, all right? Some of these UFC guys, they still think it's like the 90s in MMA where they're throwing like these weird, I never understood the punch where your punch ends up like this, where like you're on the side here and you're hooking it.
So the middleweight champion, Dricus du Plessis, who back-to-back finished Robert Whittaker, beat Israel Adesanya, beat Sean Strickland twice, that means nothing to you? Mr. Sean, you'd rather than be Sean Strickland, Miranda Cosgrove, like they're in, come on.
I would, because, listen, he's an outlier.
Queensberry.
Outliers are successful, but it doesn't apply to everybody else. That's what makes them outliers. That's what makes them champions. For the rest of them, yeah, you do have to stick to your P's and the Q's. You do have to stick to the basics, which is a straight left, which is what Sumiderji could be landing all night long. Yes, he got armbarred by the GOAT, Louis Smolka. Not a big deal. And even in some of these losses, the Matt Schnell fight, all-time fight, he's landing a shit ton of damage. This guy, as a flyweight, this guy has more.
Hey! If you land a shit ton of no. If you land a shit ton of damage to Matt Schnell or anything relatively close to that, he's going down. He did not land a shit ton of damage to Matt Schnell. He did not. Yes, they were saying Matt Schnell is hanging in there, but we've seen Matt Schnell hit the ground harder than he got hit. Word to the ogre Shrek, who likes to ref those fights and tell the guys afterwards that their heads are.
That guy should be absolutely disbarred and arrested and forced to drive a bus for the rest of his life. He saying that alone to a fighter after they get knocked out is the stuff of nightmares. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, regardless,
Chris Taglioni, aka Shrek, Chris Taglioni, also known as Shrek, also known as my middle school bus driver, who wore Velcro shoes. Concerning. I try to believe it's like, a carpenter not wearing a tie. You don't want it to get caught up in the fucking blades. And he just didn't want his shoes to get untied and get caught up in the brake pedal and then him kill us all. I choose to believe that. But I also
souls on that bus.
I also think that he just didn't know how to tie them and was our bus driver. And no one, believe it or not, that's not a requirement to get your driver's license, being able to tie your shoes. You got to be able to pass a road test, and you got to be able to fucking read a fucking E = MC² letters on the fucking wall. But you don't
have to know how to read. You just need to know what the letters are.
Well, you do have to take a written test, but I think that there's probably even workarounds around that, I'm not saying he couldn't read. I'm saying he probably couldn't tie his shoes. And it concerns me.
He did have Velcro shoes. He did, in fact, have Velcros.
The loop-de-loop and pull has made many amends stumble.
My daughter's 3. She's like this close to being able to tie.
Well, you got a smart daughter.
I do.
Congratulations. Very, very smart.
I thought my method was, I said French fry, make an X, under the hole, bunny ear, around the bunny ear, bunny ear. Step by step, you know what I mean?
7 steps for bunny ear.
So far, she's got French fry, X. It's the under the hole part we're working on. So we're on like step 3.
Wait till she gets all the bunny steps.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough because she gets really distracted by the bunny ears. I should have said, I should have picked something that little girls aren't as fascinated with, or she's just like, bunny ears, you do it. So anyway, 2 of us will be on Mr. Poso, the underdog. 1 of us, Dan, is on Sumaderji, the Chinese Tibetan eagle. Cedric Dumas. The Cedric Dumas versus Michael Lord Olejchuk. Dan, this was one of your guys since we started the show. Michael Lord, he's on a 3-fight losing streak. He lost to Michelle Pereira, Kevin Holland, and Shara Magomedov. He lost 2 of those by submission, went the distance with Shara Magomedov. I thought he fought very well against Shara Magomedov 8 months ago. Before that, I thought he was fighting really well against Kevin Holland, ended up getting caught in an armbar. What I think about this fight is he also got submitted by Caio Barayo, but in between that, there's a more telling victory, which is against Chidi Njokuani, right? A tall striker. Who's he fighting? A tall striker who's limited on the ground. Cedric Dumas, getting better every time you see him. He's only 29. You got to account for growth. But I kind of think that I got to take Lord Michael here. At the end of the day, I just find Dumas to be a little bit, it's like a blue belt versus a brown belt, in my opinion. I think Dumas is just a little bit. I think this is a perfect situation where the losses of Lord Michael and the wins against Dumas, something's not adding up here, right? I mean, at the end of the day, he beat Brundage by decision in a fight where he looked puzzled at best. He beat Abu Izaitar by decision. He lost to Nursultan Rozabov. Put an asterisk if you want. He got poked in the eye or whatever happened. But then he wins a decision against 11-9 Dennis Shalulin, right? So to me, it's like you're taking an 11-9 guy all the way the distance. You're taking Abu Izaitar all the way the distance. You're taking Cody fucking Brundage all the way the distance. A guy like Lord Michael is just going to be a step ahead, and I think ends up winning this fight. I think he could catch him too, the way Nursultan Rozabov did, but not really a bettable fight. -205 I'm seeing on Tapology for Lord Michael. I'm not going to see he's a parlay pillar. I'll say he's a supportive beam, possibly. You know what I mean? He's pretty confident he wins. I don't hate the odds, but I would have liked, if it was a pick'em, who would you pick, right? If this was a pick'em, who would you pick?
Lord, and that's who I'm going with regardless. When he lost against Shara Magomedov, I personally thought there was some Saudi sand on those scorecards. I did not think Shara Bullet won that fight whatsoever. I thought that Lord Michael won. I think that Michael Lord is going to beat up on Cedric Dumas. As Luke said, Cedric Dumas, not the most seasoned grappler. I mean, he did take Cody Durden down, Cody Brundage down, who is very formidable, finds a way to win regardless, but he couldn't even win against Cedric Dumas. I'm glad Dricus Dumas got a better fight, a place to fight. Now he's in Miami. He's probably going to have a lot of fun afterwards. But it's Lord's night. I am a little concerned because Lord did say if he lost his last fight, he was retiring because he was on a little bit of a losing streak. That does worry me, but I got to go with Lord.
That is worrying. And at this point, to be honest, I think
he said that before. Dan. He said, if I lose against Shara Bullet, I'm retiring.
Yeah, no, I know. That's quite concerning.
No, but, it's also like you gotta care. You gotta care. And what I'll say is this: if the lines were flipped, you would run to the betting window to bet Lord Michael at underdog odds against Cedric Dumas. And if you wouldn't, then who would you bet again? Then who in the division would you pick Lord Michael to win against, if not him?
I mean, I think I come into these Lord fights with a sober and judicious mind. Third Island Boy is not UFC material. Who's that?
I don't know.
Maybe me. I feel like I'm on the island here. I don't know. I don't know who he's referencing.
These are older, so I don't know what those are about. Sorry, guys. Or no, they're not even that old.
The Legion is that's a Bryce Mitchell.
Yo, Andrew, let us know who you're talking about.
What was I gonna say? Oh, right. Yeah, I have a sober and judicious mind when it comes to Lord Michael because he's one of my favorite fighters. I just love his style, the way he rips it to the body. He's got an unorthodox kind of herky-jerky, but purely boxing strategy that he goes in there. And I think it's super entertaining and really, really beautiful to watch. I think Dumas, though, I think his grappling has overtaken his striking. I think he's a better grappler at this point. I think he's a big, strong, athletic guy, and when he gets guys down, he could do some damage with the ground and pound. I'm more impressed with that than his striking at this point, and that kind of gives me a little cause for pause because that's always been Lord's training in his garage. Yeah. Lord's Achilles heel has always been the wrestling and grappling in general. So I am a little bit concerned. I will go with Lord. Again, the striking should be a couple levels above what Dumas is bringing to the table, not to mention the experience and the caliber of fighters that he's fought in his career compared to Mr. Cedric. So got to go with Michael Olajaychuk, my boy, ride or die. I really actually mean this pick. It's not just like me being a fan. The line's not amazing, like Luke said, I would much more prefer it if it was closer to a pick'em. But that being said, I think he's still got enough gas in the tank. He still has the skills to get it done. So let's go with Lord one more time at least.
Beautiful. Trophy certified Michael Olajaychuk. I'm going to say very quickly, Julian Erosa versus Darren Elkins. If you just said to me, like in an alley, like Luke, who is a better fighter, I'd say Julian Erosa. Who do you like better? I'd say Julian Erosa. No disrespect to Darren Elkins, but I'm just saying 40-year-old Darren Elkins, 35-year-old Julian Erosa. I feel like it's Erosa's fight to lose. However, he does that sometimes. He's Juicy J for a reason. He fights very recklessly. If he jumps guillotine or just gets taken down, he will probably fight a large majority of a round from his back, hunting for submissions. Can Darren Elkins do that for 2 out of the 3 rounds? Fucking maybe. Not minus 355 confident that he can't do that. So not really a bettable position for me. I kind of see Julian Erosa winning, but could also see a very fun fight where the fans win and Julian Erosa and Darren Elkins are both they're both indifferent of the outcome at the end of it. But, we've seen stranger things. We've seen Darren Elkins do stranger things. So I'm not really betting on this one, but my pick will be Julian Erosa, more so as a fan, more so as I'd like to see him get a win. I like Julian Erosa, but yeah, he should win. The line suggests that. I don't think it's a bettable line. 30-11 against 29-11. I mean, guys,
Darren Elkins is going to TKO Julian Erosa in the 3rd round. Doggedness. It's going to get him through the fight. He's going to do it. He's going to put a pace on Erosa that Erosa can't keep up with. Even at 45 years old, his gas tank is durable. His chin's durable. He's called the damage for a reason. He's going to withstand the early storm. And like Luke said, Julian Erosa is no stranger to jumping guillotine. He's going to get himself in bad positions against Darren Elkins. Darren Elkins is like a dog on a bone. When he gets you down, I'm going with Darren Elkins.
No. You got to go with Julian Erosa. At this point, the damage is stiff. Obviously the striking was never really there. And I think Erosa he's slippery. He's got really good grappling. Is he going to win a wrestling match? No, but I think he's going to be hard to take down. Maybe not hard to take down, but when he's going to be hard to hold down. I know that's Elkin's thing. He's really good at top control and all that, but man, Arosa, first of all, he's going to lay a ton of damage on Elkins in the first round. So there's going to be that. And then rounds 2 and 3, it's in Miami. It's going to be hot. It's going to be slippery. It's going to be really hard keeping that Newt, Julian Arosa, that slimy Newt, keeping him down. I don't think it's going to happen. I think Arosa's got a couple grappling tricks up his sleeve. He'll find his way back to his feet, and he will continue to be the better striker and outpoint, if not knock out, Darren Elkins. So the line, again, is not great. Arosa is really not somebody that you want as a favorite, especially at that price. What do you know he's at? My non-gambling compadre.
He's at minus 380 on Tapology, so that's probably higher.
So that's insane. You would have to do a prop bet here. Maybe Arosa by I was going to say decision, but I feel like, I mean, it's going to catch up to Elkins at some point. I might go, Arosa by finish. That might be my prop. But the money line is a little too rich for my taste, but he is the pick.
Okay, next up, Chase, the Skittle Boy Hooper versus Jim Miller. Dan, what do you think about this one?
Like I said, I got to pay for my my spring break trip, and this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to ride with my boy, my New Jersey, my North Jersey compadre, Jim Miller. When I look at this, is it a risky play? Yeah. Anytime it's a plus 550, it's a somewhat risky play. Obviously. What I'm looking at is a guy who is a better striker, although Hooper is definitely closing that gap, by each and every fight. But I'm also looking at a guy who obviously has all of the jiu-jitsu and grappling credentials. I don't think he's going to fall for the tricks. We were talking about tricks before and how when all things are equal, the tricks are what get you by. I don't think the tricks are going to be performed upon Jim Miller. I think he's going to be way ahead of the game. He's not going to let Hooper take his back. If Jim Miller can maintain some level of cardio for 2 rounds, I think he'll have enough to eke it out, be the better striker. He's a southpaw that might, cause some issues for Hooper. I can't even say that Hooper's inexperienced at this point. He's got a good amount of UFC fights under his belt. But I mean, the value is clearly on Miller. Dog or pass. Folks, please don't bet against this guy. There's a lot of things in his favor as a plus 550 dog, and I'm going to take my shot with it.
Yeah, Miller's the only person to bet. I came in here thinking I was going to take Miller, but then Dan started talking, and I started remembering the signs. Last time Chase Hooper fought, I said the same things about Clay Guida. I said Clay Guida might be able to take him down, grind him out, dog on a bone. I met Clay Guida, not but 2 weeks ago. Clay Guida was the sign that I needed to pick Chase Hooper here because Clay's still looking good. Clay's looking good. I felt him hard as a rock. Not me. His body was as hard as a rock. Pause. Yeah, I got to go with Chase Hooper. Everything in me wanted to take Miller, but I just can't do it.
Chase Hooper all day by TKO. Miller is 40 years old. He got a life-changing beating against Bobby Green. Chase Hooper, I think, beats Bobby Green. Chase Hooper is he's evolved. He's better than we said he was at the beginning. He was as bad as he was at the beginning. He has evolved. And he's too much for 40-year-old Jim Miller.
All right.
He beat Lyme's disease. He's ready.
Hey, Tatiana Suarez beat cancer. That didn't help her in the fight against fucking Amanda Nunes or whoever the hell. Or Valentina. No. Fucking Naojanan. No. Weili Zhang. That's it. But Zhao Hanan is next. That's why she's on my brain.
What I wanted to say is Chase, the industry plant Hooper. Chase Hooper being given Clay Guida and Jim Miller in back-to-back fights, industry plant. But he should change his name. He should come out, win the fight, go, DC, I just beat legends back-to-back. first ballot Hall of Famers, Clay Guida, Jim Miller. This guy has the most wins out of anybody in the entire division, in the entire sport. He's got more wins. I just finished him. So from now on, I've already achieved the dream. It's not chase the dream anymore. Now, it's chase the belt, Hooper. I'm coming for that belt. I want a top 5 opponent next. Patty the Batty. Where you at? You good at jiu-jitsu? I think I'm better. Patty the Batty is who I want next. Whether he gets past Chandler or not, Patty's in my sights. Drop the mic.
Lad, you're just a boy going to the Skittles Museum. What are you talking about?
Must be a mushroom. He does look like a mushroom, and he's from Washington. Washington, where there's a lot of mushrooms. So,
yeah, home of Mr. Hands. Next
I look
up,
Washington. All they have out there is mushrooms and rain. Yeah.
Next up, Verna Jandiroba, Luke's sister in crime versus Now Jananyan 9. I'm gonna go with 9 on this one. I know that everybody's been in love with this Verna Jandiroba. What's she doing? Where's she looking? What's going on? She's able to get these women down and keep them down. Not Jananyan 9. Not this one. I think 9's going to come out there, be a little bit more physically imposing. She's fought against women who have been trying to take her down. And God forbid Verna Jandiroba makes it to the belt. The last thing we need to see is Weili Zhang tossing her around like a sack of potatoes and her eyes just like rolling around like a fucking 8-ball. Yeah, give me Yao Jananyan 9.
I am in complete agreement with you. I love 9 Janan. I think that while she has faced people who could have posed a similar threat in her last opponent, Tabitha Ricci, Tabitha Ricci fought really, really poorly. She didn't. I bet on Tabitha Ricci that night. She didn't go for takedowns at all.
She's spending too much time with that Cowlin Lauren. No, that's not his name. Callan the King. Callan.
Brian Callan.
Oh, I hope not. God forbid.
Any of size.
The boxer, the Irish boxer.
Callum Walsh.
That's his name.
Yeah, she is. And so she could have made that fight easier for herself, but she didn't. Sorry, we got some comments here. I just want to flash them up on the screen real quick. Just ignore them. That is true.
All right. Only sub twice in 60 fights. Good thing Luke said TKO. No boundaries for love. You love what you love. I'm going to go so hard when I see Wood Saturday. Whoa. Damn, I mean Woodson. Yeah. Patty, you little fat. Peter Griffin to Verna.
I have to draw you. Or you could go Leonardo DiCaprio, Leonardo DiCaprio to Rose in Titanic. I told them when I walked into jiu-jitsu, a couple years off the fucking couch, 30 pounds overweight. I walk in, I go, I'm doing Titanic jiu-jitsu today, baby. Women and children only. Women and children only. I am not going with anybody who's not a woman or a child. I am not hurting myself. No. So,
Dan, what do you think?
9 for me, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with a triple P certification on a lady fight, going with Yao Zhaonan.
Second in a row.
Say what?
Second in a row. We all triple P certified Cornole.
Hell yeah! There you go. We are we're all synced up, as they say. Yeah, I just think that the takedown defense will be there, and obviously much crisper, cleaner striking, pressuring forward, not letting like Jandiroba. She does like trips and like weird things that catches a lot of these girls off guard. Really tripping Yao Janan. All right, you got to go with a full-on manly takedown. All right, that ain't happening to this girl. She's not falling for the tricks. She's not falling for the trips. So triple.
I thought you meant like they were sending her around like she's Alex Vieira to all the UFC fights in all these different areas. Like she's been going on a lot of trips lately.
No.
Oh, man.
I don't think she's gone on trips, but maybe she has. But yeah, hey, we got a Triple P certified lady dog. So
We're synced up like some sorority sisters. And
Why
next up-
is she allowed to fight in the U.S. and Shara Bullet is not? I want to know the extent of what's going on.
Because her eye doesn't look all white and gooey and gross looking. It's bad in its own right, but like Shara Bullet's eye is oozing every time he comes into the cage.
A whispering eye, some people find very seductive. So you'd be surprised. Sean Woodson versus Dan Ige. I'm going with Sean Woodson here. I think he makes him eat jabs and gets good cage control for the whole fight. Wins the fight by unanimous decision. Dan Ige's Hawaiian. He's got a very hard coconut. He's not going to get knocked out here. But I see him eating jabs and never really getting going and losing a 3-round decision. I think Sean Woodson should definitely win here. But, Dan Ige is competent for sure. But just 9 losses, people have found a way to do it. And I think that the one thing you could say is that his 5 rounds with Lerone Murphy certainly would help prepare for Sean Woodson. So if you roll one camp into the other, you got a recipe for success there. But no, I'm going with Sean Woodson here by decision.
This card is one bearded lady away from being a freak show, and Sean Woodson is the main reason. He looks like a circus freak. His dimensions make me super uncomfortable. He looks like Slender Man if you've ever played that game. Very long.
Fighting at 145 pounds.
Disgusting weight bully, weirdo, very makes me uncomfortable. And he got knocked out in like his last fight, I think, and won it Cody Brundage style, just stayed down on a grounded knee. Man.
Alex, what are you talking about?
Didn't Luis Saldana knock him out?
Split draw. And that was in 2022, 3 years ago.
Did they take a point away?
They must have. It was a split draw, but he is on a 4-fight winning streak, which includes the likes of Dennis Bajukia, Charles Jourdain, Dan, Alex Caceres.
Oh, you will never live that one down.
And Fernando.
Wait. What was this? What did I do?
Charles Jourdain versus Sean Woodson. We're in the Poconos. Charles Jourdain's all about won the fight.
Oh, that was that fight? Okay.
I walk out onto the porch to sulk. You come out to the porch and you look me in the eyes and say, Charles Jourdain won. And I say, no, he didn't, Dan. I was watching the fight. He won. He lost every round. You said, I swear on my mother's life, Charles Jourdain won.
No, you said, do you swear on your mother's life? And I said, yes.
That is bullshit. That is bullshit. I did not say that.
I was there. You did. You made him swear on his mother's life.
I would never do that. I didn't do that. And anybody watching this know for a fact that is not true. But it wasn't Dan's fault. I mean, they raised Charles Jourdain's hand. There was a,
Yup, Sean alien his way through yet again.
Dang.
Can't stand
this thing. Me either. Alex is right. He knocked him down and didn't follow up. Pulled a Jalen Turner. He's in jail now, the retirement jail.
Yeah. So hey, listen, Sean wasn't beat Yusuf.
Or was he trying to correct me from saying Jalen Turner, as I always do?
I don't know. But I will say that Sean Woodson beat Yusuf Zalal. Yusuf Zalal is the next Diego Lopes. He can do anything. I'm going with Sean Woodson.
Man, this card has all my favorite fighters. We got Michael Olajaychuk. Now we got Sean Woodson, my boy, and I'm going to ride with him one more time against that shrimp, Dan Ige. Sean Woodson's going to box his ass up. Is it a parlay pillar? Nah, I don't see too many parlay pillars on this card, to be honest. Got to be careful. You got to be surgical, and you got to play it safe. Well, not safe, but smart. But I like me some Sean Woodson here. I mean, the intangibles alone should be enough to get this thing done. What's the reach advantage? Like 3 feet? Insane.
Yeah, I think so. And listen, as a 5'2" guy who's 280 pounds, it's hard for me to find clothes myself. I can't imagine what Sean Woodson goes through. You know, who the fuck did Dan Ige piss off that like he does them the biggest favor in the world on the Diego Lopes fight?
That's a good point.
Right. And then he gets Lerone Murphy, Sean Woodson. Like just
terrible. I'll do Dan Ige can do whatever he wants after that. We'll do something special for Dan Ige, were his words.
Yeah. And his version of something special is like Lerone Murphy, terrible stylistic matchup for him, even though he didn't look bad in that. And then now Sean Woodson, who is 30 feet tall, against one of the smallest guys in this division. So it's really mind-boggling. He must have done something behind the scenes that night and really pissed some people off.
Yeah, 5'7" versus 6'2". And it's not even like it's like, you know, 5'7" Marab Dwalishvili versus 6'2" Sean Woodson. Dan Ige got taken down, you know, pretty easily by Bryce Mitchell. You know, he gets taken down. He doesn't have very good wrestling. So not that Bryce Mitchell has bad wrestling, but just, you know, it's like he didn't wrestle for a college. Dan Ige's area of interest is not, you know, it's with the hands, and he's gonna have a lot to overcome here. This is an Andre Fili. So all right, should be served by Sean Woodson. Nikita Krylov versus Dominic Reyes. Dominic Reyes coming off back-to-back wins against Dustin Jacoby and Anthony Smith, both by knockout. Similarly, we have a 3-fight winning streak for the favorite, Nikita Krylov. Knocked out Alexander Gustafsson 2 years ago. Went to decision with Ozdemir 2 years ago, and submitted Ryan Spann 2 years ago. Hasn't fought in 2 years. 30-9. Nikita Krylov, 32 years old, coming off a 2-year layoff. He is going to be equally heighted and reached as his opponent, Dominic Reyes, who at least has put up, 2 fights in the last calendar year. So he's knocked out both of his opponents. I love it. I'm going with Dominic Reyes, plus 165 underdog. Dominic Reyes for me. You know, it's kind of one of those situations where Krylov's unorthodox style is met with an opponent who seemingly over his loss streak got knocked out in unorthodox ways, right? Got knocked out with that spinning elbow by Yuri. When things go chaotic, sometimes they go wrong for one Dominic Reyes, but we've seen a bit of a resurgence, you know, since his 3-fight knockout streak. Those are, you know, his 3-fight knockout streaks are his only losses besides his loss to John Jones, which a lot of people think, you know, he did enough to get the win that night. So if you can come back and get 2 knockouts of your own after that losing streak, it says more positively about me than it does negatively. You're putting on more activity than your opponent who's similar age to you. It says a lot positively. I just hope we see what we've seen out of Dominic lately. More cerebral, cautious, survive that first round with Krylov, and there should be no problem through 2 and 3. So give me Dominic Reyes, underdog pick. How does he get it done? I don't know.
He doesn't get it done. Nikita Krylov is a marauder, and you would need Pat Berry to take down this minor. I'm going with Nikita Krylov. He's going to absolutely destroy Dominic Reyes any way he wants it. That's the way he needs it. He's going to get it done, probably by knockout.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know about this resurgence. What, he won 1 fight and now he's on a resurgence. I'm not impressed with Dominic Reyes.
2 fights by knockout. Anthony Smith and Dustin Jacoby, all within.
Okay.
Yeah, but he got power jabbed.
Do I even have to explain that one? Like Anthony Smith, it's the free space on the bingo card, so I'm not really counting that one. And
he got knocked out by Ryan Spann, who looked absolutely horrendous in his last fight.
That was in 2022. AKA like the last time Krylov's fought and won. So
I think Krylov just schools Dominic
Luke,
Reyes.
His country was at
plays
war.
That's all I gotta say.
Hell yeah. Nikita Krylov can do anything.
Anything.
Easy. All right. Patricio Pitbull versus Yair Rodriguez. One of my more confident picks of the card. You got Patricio Pitbull, 37 years old. Yair Rodriguez, 32 years old. Yair is going to have a 6.5-inch reach advantage. He's going to have a 5-inch height advantage. I really believe in Yair here. I don't know. I mean, when Yair's lost, besides against Volkanovski, he lost to Max Holloway in a unanimous decision where he did a lot of damage himself. He got submitted by Brian Ortega after doing a lot of damage himself. I think that he learns from those hiccups. I think he puts a beating and a pace on Patricio Pitbull. I see a lot of covering and eating of shots from Patricio Pitbull. I think that he has bits and moments throughout the fight, but ultimately Yair coasts and wins a unanimous decision victory.
Luke, where does Yair Rodriguez train?
Oh,
Jacoby.
Dustin Jacoby.
Okay, this one smells. Maybe it does. I mean, Yair Rodriguez, Luke famously says he trains at Kobliokekla, Florida State Seminoles. I know that we're in Miami for this one. Deep Native American roots down there in Florida land. You got to go with the Native American himself, Yair Rodriguez. He's going to go out there and destroy Patricio Pitbull. He's past his prime. I would love to take Pitbull. I would take a younger Pitbull against Yair Rodriguez. The only real wild card hair is if Pitbull decides he wants to take this to the ground and maybe gets Yair in some trouble. Yair has been pretty scrambly lately, slippery, hard to get down. I think even Volk didn't have the easiest time getting him down. I'm going with Yair Rodriguez. Yair Rodriguez emphatically.
Yeah, good luck getting that guy down. Dana White is so petty. He's like, let me just sign this guy from Bellator who's like an all-time great in their promotion, and let's just give him the worst possible fucking matchup just because. Yeah, I think Yair destroys him. He's not getting taken down. Head kicks galore are coming Pitbull's way. So, again, this is another one just kind of like the previous one where I don't think it even really deserves all that much of a breakdown. I just think it's Yair all the way. I think it's clear as day.
This is what happens when Kevin Iole asks Dana White questions about you. He starts to hate you. He starts to hate you. He doesn't know you from Adam, but now he hates you because Kevin Iole's asking about you. The British guy from Mac Life Sports, Oscar Willits, that fucking loser. He's asking questions about you. That gets in Dana White's head. He's like, no, I said I want Aaron Pico. I don't give a fuck about no 37-year-old Pitbull.
Yeah. And Pitbull's asking for a lot of money. When you ask for a lot of money, it demands a certain level of card placement. It demands a certain geographic, card for you to fight on, and it also demands a high-ranked opponent. So he's getting number 5, right? You're a Bellator champion, 2 divisions. Who do you want to fight? I mean, they gave Ben Askren Robbie Lawler. They gave, what's another great example? I mean, like
Dustin Chandler.
Yeah,
Michael Chandler.
They gave him Dan Hooker.
All 3 of those guys: Dustin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje, and Michael Chandler. Same guys, except one of them's a drug addict, and the other one's and that's well documented. I saw videos of Justin Gaethje hitting dabs. Anybody who hits dabs is a drug addict, in my opinion.
Well, when he says drug addict, he means his opinion and allegedly, and just joking. Okay, so yeah, I mean, listen, it's Yair. We're all going with Yair. It's triply certified.
Next up, Bryce Mitchell, the soldier of Christ, the crusader Bryce Mitchell versus the demon, evil John Silva. Who the hell is John Silva? Dan, what do you think about this one?
I've seen a clip or 2 of John Silva getting taken down, and I'm going to roll with that footage. I'm going to go with Bryce Mitchell by decision. I think he's not going to be a beatdown. It's not going to be a beatdown. It's not going to be all that entertaining. But Bryce is going to go in there headstrong, knowing that he's not taking out one man. He's taking out a legion of demons, and he's going to get that job done. He's going to find a way to get that takedown. I mean, Shit, he took down Edson Barbosa. He's taken down, I think, a lot of guys that are at least on par, if not greater than John Silva. So, Silva's got the aura going on. Okay, I can certainly understand that, but man, I just see, once Bryce gets you down, it's hard to get back up. He's really good at getting the control. So there you go, Andrew Cavanaugh. I love you, man. Agreed. So yeah, let's get Bryce back on his winning ways. I don't buy into the theory that he's lost his mind and now he's going to be a terrible fighter. No, if he lost his mind, I think it'll make him a better fighter, if anything. So he's going to go in there cock strong and get some takedowns. Let's do it.
Lukey,
I'm going with Bryce Mitchell as well.
You called me an idiot for this 3 weeks ago when I said I think Bryce Mitchell has a chance here.
I changed my mind.
Material change.
Well, when John Silva came out with that globe, it really rubbed me the wrong way. I don't like that. I'm a biblical earther. So here's the thing. Silva, yeah, I agree with you guys. Though my only question is, will the crowd boo when Bryce Mitchell takes him down?
Who cares?
It'll be a big. Oh, it's everything. I mean, because if we need to see, we need to get a pulse on where the MMA community is at with Bryce Mitchell.
We need not Mark Goddard in the cage.
If Miami, Florida cheers when Bryce Mitchell takes John Silva down, Bryce has redeemed his image because he's now become what America loves the best, a victim, a sympathetic figure. Everybody's against him. They've put him in an impossible situation. Will their hatred for perceived anti-Semitism or their with Bryce saying what he said on his podcast, or will that be overcome by him being such an underdog and people just wanting to see somebody triumph above the machine where it seems Bryce is being fed into the machine? It's a very interesting conundrum. So I'm going with Bryce Mitchell just because I think weird shit happens all the time, and John Silva hasn't been tested, and Bryce is more determined than ever to win. And, I think that he's had more success in the wrestling and jiu-jitsu department than people realize. And that's a clear path to victory, So Bryce is an underdog. Bryce coming in with something to prove. I'm on board with it.
Triple P certify Bryce Mitchell. He is going to.
Oh, that's your takeaway?
He is going to cook him to the bone. He's going to take him down. Charles Jourdain, little tiny Charles Jourdain was taking down John Silva. Okay. Bryce Mitchell's going to take him down, cook him to the bone, finish him. Bryce Mitchell had really, really good moments against Ilia Topuria in that first round. I mean, not really, really good, but he did better than anybody else against Ilia Topuria at all. Give me Bryce. I think that he is going to really, really, really put a beat down on John Silva, whether he throws 6 million punches or 600 punches. Either way, it's going to be bad in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's bad either way.
I feel like a national Bozy bear.
Trophy certified Bryce Mitchell. Okay. Michael Chandler versus Patty the Batty.
I'm trying to think of a Third Reich joke for the Triple P certified. I just can't figure it out. The third P? I don't know. It just doesn't work. Hopefully we're Triple Reich. Oh, damn. All three of us are Reich. Oh, man.
Nah, that's not it.
Hopefully this isn't. No.
We'll workshop it. We'll workshop
it. We're live. I'm not going to. But I'm just glad Andrew Cavanaugh said he agrees brother and not brother. Brother would make me a little uncomfortable. I'd be like, I'm not dog whistling, Andrew. I just think that Bryce has a path to victory and at the odds. I mean,
yes.
Oh yeah. So all right, Patty the Batty. After seeing what I saw with Charles Oliveira do to Michael Chandler, Scousers don't get knocked out. I'm going with Patty the Batty.
Yeah, I mean, Paddy Pimblett definitely is hittable, but
another industry plant. They got all their industry plants on the same card. You got Chase Hooper, Patty the Batty, industry plant after industry plant.
Yeah, I mean, Paddy Pimblett gets hit. He does get hit, but like Luke said, Scousers do not get knocked out. I mean, it can happen to anybody. Michael Chandler hits hard, but God forbid Michael Chandler tries to defend a takedown. And I think Paddy Pimblett might even be able to land some offense on the feet himself, tag Michael Chandler. Michael Chandler kind of struggles with these longer, rangier guys that can put hands on you. And I think Paddy the Pimblett will be able to put hands on him, will be able to get him to the ground, will be able to do whatever he wants. Michael Chandler might win some moments, but I think Paddy Pimblett's going to end up winning this. But you got to think, Paddy the Pimblett, he's admitted that he doesn't have the strongest mentals. His best friend, the Meatball, just retired in the cage, had a very emotional moment not but 2 weeks ago. Is he more fired up or is he more bummed out? Is Molly McCann worried about her pastry shop, or is she going to be in there for the camp to keep the vibes up? Who knows? But
I want to hear that he was drinking that night. I mean, I need to know something because that nobody cried about Molly McCann retiring except Patty the Batty. So,
hell, my dad retired 6 months ago. I didn't cry. You know,
when someone's doing something dangerous for them, like police work or MMA fighting, and they retire, you're happy for them.
Yeah, you're like, oh, thank goodness you got out unscathed. I got to go Paddy Pimblett. Dan, what do you think? Do you think Michael Chandler will have his Cinderella moment?
I think Michael Chandler rocks his shit. I think Paddy the Batty has been really underperforming. I don't care how many steroids he's on. I think Michael Chandler has a better gas tank. I think he's going to be hard to take down. And, I mean, dude, Paddy gets rocked every fight he's in against guys who hit a lot less hard than Michael Chandler. So, you know, I mean, what does Chandler have? Like 2 wins in the UFC. One's Tony Ferguson, and the other is an untatted Dan Hooker. I understand the skepticism, but I think that this is the breakout moment. It's not Dominic Reyes. I think this is the real breakout moment that's going to be going on. It's just a bad matchup for Paddy Pimblett. Can it be close? Yeah, I think it could be a bit of a dogfight, but who's going to have the bigger shots? It's going to be Michael Chandler. I don't see a submission coming Paddy's way, and I don't see him holding down Chandler over the course of 3 rounds. So actually, it's a 5-round fight. It's a 5-round fight. I got to do it, Andrew. I'm sorry. The matchup is there for me. And listen, don't poo-poo an underdog. This is where the value's at. This is where the money's going to come in. So give me Chandler, man. Anything not making sense here? Poke some holes.
You make all the sense in the world. I mean, it's reasonable to believe Chandler is stockier, more explosive, more powerful within the pocket.
He's got and all that real quick and better cardio. Paddy's passing out in 3-round fights in the second round.
Chandler was good after 5 with Charles in his best round in the 5th.
Did not get submitted by Charles.
We'll do whatever it takes to win. Fish hook, grab the fence, poke him in the eyes.
Love it.
Paddy the Batty's going to win this fight and then get knocked the fuck out by Ilya Topuria.
You know,
that's the only angle that gives me cause for pause, because it's like it is a perfect, lining up fight.
Here's what I'll say. If you have Paddy the Batty, the luxury that you have here is you put him at the end of your parlays, you hedge out on Chandler as the underdog. Okay. I think Dan makes a compelling point. Paddy does fight with his chin up in the air and his hands down a lot of the time. He has, his when somebody comes in on him and closes, his defense is head up way high and backing up like this. And I mean, he hasn't looked great in there, to be honest. He just always somehow finds a way, so I don't know. I think it's a very tough fight for Paddy, but I would be lying if I said I wouldn't hedge out on Chandler if Patty was the last leg of any parlay.
Fair enough.
I think Chandler's in a must-win situation. His wife just gave birth to their daughter via surrogacy, meaning so another woman gave birth to her, but he flew in for the birth for the C-section. So I saw that on his wife's Instagram. So a lot going on, in the Chandler house. He's welcoming a third child into the mix, and I think Chandler's opportunities at this stage in his career are very high, and he has been told and told and told again that no matter the outcome of his fights, Teddy Atlas told him this. Everybody tells him this. It's like, you entertain the crowd, and you don't. Nobody cares if you lose, and so it's like when you hear that, it's kind of like it reinforces that kind of style, and I think he has moments in this fight, but ultimately does something stupid. I mean, that's the story of Chandler throughout this. When he kicked Tony Ferguson in the face, Tony won that first fucking round. When he knocked out Dan Hooker, didn't have enough time to see things really get going. Every other fight he's lost. Every other fight he's had a moment in the fight where he looked like he was going to win and ended up blowing it. I think it's just a lack of bullets in the gun. And if Patty can survive the onslaughts that will come over 5 rounds, I think he wins a decision, or maybe even finds a knee to the jaw connection and stops him, because Chandler's been stopped. He's been through a lot of wars and he's pretty old. So I'm taking Patty. Alex is taking Patty. Dan is going with Mr. Michael Chandler.
Yes, sir.
And with
See you
that,
at the top.
and with that, we'll go to the main event. So, yeah, I agree. So you could take Chandler finish only, or Patty. You could find a way to bet this in a way that makes sense, but I wouldn't count out that over 5 rounds, like, we just see a worse Chandler than we saw the last time. We could really see a worse Chandler than we saw against Oliveira. A worse Chandler than that. How does Patty not mount him and just drop fucking 12-6 elbows on him? I mean,
He's getting up there.
Like Robbie Lawler said, if I got in that spot, I wasn't taking his neck. I'm taking his soul. So Patty needs to have that mentality. He needs to say, if I get where Charles got, I'm not taking his neck. I'm not looking for his neck. I'm taking his fucking soul, and I'm going to just smash him with elbows.
Turn his head into soup. Volk versus Lopes. Lukey, I know you're very impassioned about this one.
I mean, listen, I got a bet on the Lopes already. I'm going to put more on him as I can. But if Lopes wins, I stand to make $1,000. I caught him at I think plus 124. Put a pretty substantial bet on Lopes. I believed it. I also ordered his shirt. I thought I would have it by the podcast. I didn't get it in time. I hope it comes.
His UFC fight kit, Venom.
His full violence stuff. But yeah, I hope it comes by the fight next. I want to be wearing the shirt, dream, believe, and make it happen. And I want to win my 808, 808s and heartbreaks, 808 and heartbreaks. That's what everybody in the MMA community is going to experience, a heartbreak. Everybody loves Volk. He's going to cry. 808s and heartbreaks, $808 to win $1,809.92. $1,001 profit if Diego Lopes alone gets the win. I dropped the hammer on him. I'm going to try to drop more on him. I'm going to hopefully have him at the end of some parlays and really clean up in the night. I think Diego Lopes wins. I'm just waiting for the by knockout line to drop. I'm going to get him by knockout too. I think he knocks out Volk. Volk's coming off back-to-back knockout losses. Volk's very old. Volk would literally be the first person ever in a series of weight classes, 155 and below, the first person ever to win a world title at his age. So if anybody can do it, it's Volk. And if he comes out there and has a similar game plan to, say, a Brian Ortega, I think he can have moments. I think he can get Diego Lopes down. I think Diego could sacrifice 1, if not 2 rounds, allowing Volk to remain on top of him while throwing up submissions and shit. If that happens, it could be an interesting situation going into rounds 4 and 5. But we've never seen Diego there. That's my point. But I don't think it makes it that far. I think it's Diego Lopes KO round 1. And that will be, and if that happens, guys, That'll be the third guy that's never been. I predicted Volk to get knocked out by Topuria. I predicted Max Holloway to get knocked out by Topuria. And now I'm predicting Volk to get knocked out by Lopes. Lopes opened as an underdog. I believe is still an underdog. That would be the third time that I'm able to accurately predict somebody in this weight class, who's
The last 3 title fights in this weight class, if I'm not mistaken.
And Max Holloway had never even been knocked down before, but somehow I knew Topuria by knockout. So I believe Lopes can do anything. Diego Lopes can do anything. So I love it. And we ride unto dawn. I'm going to figure out whatever. Let's see if it opened up yet. Lopes by knockout. But you guys know where I stand on this. And MMA Guru said it best. You can just see it in your mind's eye. Volk talking and crying in the post-fight interview saying, I did my best. I just wanted to prove to people you could do things. And yeah.
When I'm not fighting, I do me head in.
No, you haven't seen the last of me. You haven't seen the last of Volk. I will be back, and I will get better. And I thought it was a bit of an early stoppage.
Dude, we need to. I mean, we are recording it, so that's good. But
okay, Lopes win by KO is plus 300. Oh, I will be able. And then Lopes to win by knockout in round 1. Plus 900.
About round 2. I'm thinking round 2.
Round 2 is plus 1200. And usually you'll get some combo action where you can go to win in round 1 or 2. So that might be like plus 500. So
yeah, I gotta get me a slice of that pie. I'm seeing Lopes standing over Volk's body with that knockout as well. It's a changing of the guard. Volk, man, he was.
I think the smart move is Lopes money line, big bet. Lopes by knockout, $100 bet to win 300. Then you take the $300 of profit you would get if he wins by knockout, and you sprinkle 100 on round 1 for 600, 100 on round 2 for 1,300, and then that way, if he knocks him out, you win your money line bet plus the knockout. If he knocks him out in round 1 or round 2, you do really, really well.
I like that. I like that a lot. That's some numbers jiu-jitsu there. I'm also going to ride with Lopes, obviously. Man, I think Volk was Icarus there for a while, man. He just flew too close to the sun. He got into the game late, and he just made it his passion project, and he was just fucking going at it for a while. He became one of the best. He was a champion, and he was there for a couple years, but at a certain point, all those hits from rugby and MMA and everything just caught up to him, and now he's cooking burgers and making YouTube videos about cooking.
And listen, it wasn't rugby or MMA. It was one fight. It was the knockout loss to Islam Makhachev on short notice. It was being arrogant enough to think or greedy enough to think that this was a worthwhile opportunity. You had a full training camp, and it went to a close decision that you ended up losing.
Andrew. Not quite yet.
So, listen.
Let's toss it up to you, Alex. See what you got.
I just think that he took that fight on short notice. He looked like shit walking to that octagon. He looked like flabby, fat, out of shape. Gets knocked out, rushes too quickly into defending his title, gets knocked out again. And again, he's rushing too quickly into this situation. So,
yeah,
wrong. Alexander Volkanovski is going to win this fight. I think a year off after that knockout is more than enough time for him to rest the old noggin. I think he's going to come back. He's going to be better. Yeah, he's going to win this fight. He's going to withstand the early storm. I didn't love what I saw from Diego Lopes against Danny Gay coming in on 3 hours notice. I didn't love what I saw against Brian Ortega. I think Volk is going to be able to stay alive. If those guys could stay alive, I think the Volk can stay alive. And then I think Volk will have moments. I think Volk will be able to keep the distance. Although, he does seem like the smaller, not as rangy guy. He's really good at operating at distance. I think that Diego Lopes does his best work when he's in tight, throwing elbows, knees, close in, uppercuts in the clinch, hooks. He's not necessarily a stand from the outside. You went from Bradley Coop to looking like the dude. That's you, Dan.
If you're on a rant and I throw something up on the screen, get to it at the end of your rant. I forgot to say that.
All right. I thought these were all super chats. I thought these were donations. I thought
no, these cheap bastards. No, they don't even they're not even on the Patreon.
Very true.
They're not even on the beautiful, glorious Patreon. Patreon.com. Okay. Don't look at
That's
that one.
outdated advertisement.
Outdated.
There's no more prelims predictions, and there's not much more.
Just contribute to the show. Donate to the show. Okay.
Yeah, Volk is gonna get it done, and I agree. I could see Volk crying in the center of the octagon. I gotta take him. I think that he is going to be the guy at the end of the day. He's way better than Dan Ige. He's way better than Brian Ortega. Both of those guys had really good moments against Diego Lopes that made me realize he's not invincible. And a guy like Volk is going to be able to capitalize on it. No. Batman.
Well, we love you. We love you, Andrew Cavanaugh. We love all you guys who tuned in today. Mr. Blackout, what was his name? Mr. Wipeout. Yeah, we love you guys. Thanks for joining us. Let's go through the full picks top to bottom. Say our final words. Go into this weekend strong. Big get right weekend. Closing out year 5. So, hold on, Andrew. We're not done yet. Stick around. We're not done yet, Andrew. So anyway, full picks up the bottom. If you're going with me, actually, I'll go last. Alex, you go first.
All right. If you're rolling with me, you're going to take Volk. You're going to take Patty Pimblett. You're going to take Bryce Mitchell. You're going to take Yair Rodriguez, Nikita Krylov, Sean Woodson, Zhao Nanyan, Chase Hooper, Darren Elkins, Michael Lord Olajaychuk, Mitch Raposo, Trayshawn Gore, and Nora Cornioli to kick things off. Dan, how about yourself? What are you rolling with?
I'm killing this bug. I'm going to go with Nora Cornioli, starting at the bottom. Marco Tulio Silva, Suma Derji, Michael Olajaychuk, Julian Arosa, Jim Miller, Yan Xiaonan, Sean Woodson, Nikita Krylov, Bryce Mitchell, Yair Rodriguez, Michael Iron Mike Chandler, and finally Diego Lopes. And if you want to be real gutsy and you want to put $100 on that, you can be making out with just about $500,000. But gambling is not a good thing to do.
And that's why I don't do it. And guys, if you know anything about this show, the history of this show, what's happened the last 4 or 5 years we've been doing this show, every time it is my birthday weekend, I hit big. I highly recommend you tell my picks. Although I'm not going to be participating in them myself, I think that I might even crack a perfect parlay. Hey, there is a little disclaimer there. Most years on my birthday, Max Holloway does fight. So that kind of, might void it out since he's not fighting. I usually get his fights correct. Luke, what do you think?
Well, I think you're betting on the guy who beat him 3 times, and you're betting on the guy who lost to him once in Yair Rodriguez. So I don't know. There's a little bit of Max Holloway stain on both these guys. So if you're going with me, you're going with Nora Cornole, Marco Tulio, Mitch Raposo, dog number 1, Michael Lord Olajaychuk, Julian Arosa, Chase Hooper, Yan Janan, dog number 2, Sean Woodson, Dominic Reyes, dog number 3, Yair Rodriguez, Bryce Mitchell, dog number 4, Patty the Batty, and Diego Lopes, pick 'em, but slight dog number 5. I believe it's a 13 fight card. So 5 dogs, 13 fights seems about right to me. We go into war this weekend, guys. It's going to be a great card. Holiday season, say your prayers, practice sobriety, get to the gym, work out, eat healthy, do a fast, not medical advice, but whatever, your personal religion is, just know everyone's personal religion, Passover, Easter, Eid. We've had a lot of religious holidays from all of the religions, the pagan holidays, the solstice, a lot of mana to be tapped into. Tap into that mana, ride it, use it, harness it. The ether, it's all there for you. Take advantage of it. I know I sure am. And we'll see you next Monday. Sorry we were a day late this week. Had to be done. Cornioli, give me the Formioli. Woodson, Patty the Batty, and Pitbull. By the way, I'll join the Patreon soon. Please do, and expect me. Rodriguez is tight, quiet in him for is as tiny.
As tiny quite in him for well, Guadalajaran.
I don't know what that means, but pray for peace, brothers. Pray for peace and quit. A little bit of quit in him, I get what you're saying. So, we'll see. He's been matched up against the best in the world for a very long time. I think this is a bit of a backstepping competition. I compare Patricio at this point to a Josh Emmett. He got Josh Emmett out of there pretty quick. So, with that said, hug your loved ones, love your friends and your family, and do right by the Lord. Let's get it. I mean, there's nothing else I need to say. We gotta go. We gotta go hard this weekend, guys. Thank you very much. There's the link to the Patreon. We would appreciate your contribution. We'll get to super chats and stuff eventually, and YouTube based donations. But for now, if you're gonna subscribe to, don't do it for the month. We literally lose money if you subscribe for a month. We need you to do it for the full year. And if you subscribe for the full year after hearing this episode, let me know. I will gamble with your money, and I'll do a big fat fucking juicy parlay. And we'll if we hit, we'll refund you. How about that? So
My God died this weekend. Please don't bring gods up.
Who's your God?
Jesus, right? Isn't that like the Easter thing?
That's fair. And just hit me up. Let me know. I'll be in the Discord this weekend. I'm locked and loaded for this card, and I'm going to exercise caution while also being extremely, extremely aggressive. So that's all we can do. Love you guys. Thank you all for joining the show. Thanks for watching. And remember, we don't exist. We love you. Goodbye. Any last words, boys? Sorry. No last words. Okay. Bye, everybody. We love you. Thank you for joining.